reviews are in for Dragon's Dogma 2, and it's looking like another one of the great games of 2024. We've been having a really good year so far. There's been the recent release of Unicorn Overlord, Final Fantasy, that's released pretty recently, both scoring in the high 80s, high and 90s. Right now, Dragon's Dogma 2 is doing really well with a score that is currently in the high 80s on OpenCritic and Metacritic. Some of the lower scores include Digital Trends, who scored it a 70, and Metro Games Central, who also scored it a 70, which is honestly pretty high still. It's not like I'm not seeing any really low scores like 50s or anything like that. Always a good sign. One of the complaints, and you could really see this as a good or a bad thing depending on who you are, is that it tailors a bit more to hardcore RPG players. So people that want a more difficult experience, something that is a bit more old school. Digital Trends talked about a particular moment when they were traveling in one of the gondolas in the game, and it was smashed to pieces by a giant monster, which caused them to lose 30 full minutes of progress. So I find that really funny, and I would probably enjoy that experience personally. It also can be a bit of a resource hog, so anyone that has an older PC, you might want to be a bit careful about a day one purchase. Those issues can be relieved over time, but it's a bit up in the air for people that might not have the best PC. You might want to purchase it on PS5 or something like that if you can do that, and you have a lower, like a worse graphics card or CPU or something like that. It can be a bit of time before a patch comes in, but it does have DLSS 3, so that might help a decent amount of people out. Overall, it sounds like it is best enjoyed by taking your time, really enjoying the game, sniffing the roses or whatever you might want to say. The thing with reviewers is that they're really not allowed to do that due to time constraints, so that might have kind of colored their impressions of what the game is like. Having to rush through it, even when you're really frustrated, could really lower your score, I feel like. Dragon's Dogma is a bit more of an old school kind of RPG, the kind that you really need to get stuck into for a long period of time and work your way through at your own pace. So you need to take breaks after periods of frustration, kind of like Dark Souls, that way you can really enjoy the sections of the game which reward the feelings of triumph that you get from overcoming those frustrations. Some of the higher review scores from outlets like Eurogamer, GamingBolt praise the open world nature of Dragon's Dogma 2, which is really no surprise if you played the original. A quote from GamingBolt is, "Dragon's Dogma 2 expects and hell wants you to treat it as a world you're living in, rather than a story that's playing out in front of you." So that kind of means, the best way to experience the game is to go off the beaten path. Take the time, really explore the world. That's what always made great games like The Witcher Wild Hunt a joy to play. You never really know what's going to happen when you go around the corner. There's always these random moments that you'll get. Eurogamer praised Dragon's Dogma 2 for its emergent gameplay, something that game director Hideaki Itsuno had previously referred to. So that emphasizes you're not going to necessarily get the best experience from just following the main story beats, though that is still an option, right? But you will get a really good experience from encounters you find along the way, NPCs that step up in front of you on the road, asking you to help them, monsters that come out of nowhere and interrupt your journey and smack you in the face a few times. The hallmarks of what makes open world RPGs really fun experiences, something that I think Elden Ring really took to the next level. So, if you've been questioning whether Dragon's Dogma 2 is a worthy place to spend your money, I would say you really don't have to worry. Obviously, think a bit about whether the game's going to run well on your PC, if you're playing it on PC, but overall, I think the game seems really well worthy of a purchase.